Click, clack. I think the hammer's coming.
We just heard from the Adidas CEO, they could sign between 5 and 500 athletes.
I think the hammer's coming.
We're not going to compete with our dumbest competitor either.
Is the word Nike even uttered in these halls?
And it means that they do the kind of things that big companies do to little companies. We have the kind of advantages that little companies can do to big companies. So going out and building the biggest, baddest brand on the planet becomes the #1 sports brand in the world is probably a pretty good ambition.
We must protect this house.
Under Armour shares sharply lower following its quarterly results. The company reporting an overall loss for the quarter.
Under Armour shares are getting tossed in the trash bin after the company reported a surprising loss in its latest earnings report.
Under Armour has continued to struggle for years. It's continued to be underwhelming. You are not competing against the rest of the landscape that has upped its game, quite frankly.
Will you protect this house? I will. I think the hammer's coming.
Back in 1996, Kevin Plank founded Under Armour. He was a member of the University of Maryland football team. Plank said he was the sweatiest guy on the football field, so he wanted to design athletic clothing that could hold up through sweating and intense activity. The Maryland Terrapin was frustrated by his cotton t-shirt's inability to keep him dry and comfortable. He needed to find material that would wick sweat away from his body. The shirt that started it all was the prototype #0037, the shorty. It was soft and skin tight. It stretched, and maybe, most importantly, it wicked sweat away faster than any other shirt on the market. Plank had a few different ideas for the name of the organization, but nothing worked out. Until one day, Plank's brother asked him, "How's that company you're working on? Under Armour?" And that name finally stuck. Plank said he chose the British spelling Armour because he thought the phone number 888-4-ARMOR was much more compelling than 888-44-ARMOR. In 1997, Under Armour introduced its Cold Gear fabric, which keeps athletes warm, dry, and light when it was cold outside. And then all-season gear to keep athletes comfortable between the extremes. In 1998, Under Armour moved its operations from Kevin Plank's grandmother's house in Washington, D.C., to an all-new headquarters and warehouse in Baltimore, Maryland. In 2003, Under Armour released its first national television ad, the now infamous "We Must Protect This House" commercial, featuring former University of Maryland football player Eric Big E Ogbogu. The ad established Under Armour as a major player in the space and introduced the concept of will, a theme that has remained consistent through the lifetime of the brands. Sales exceeded $200 million by 2004. On November 17, 2005, Under Armour went public. It was listed on the NASDAQ under ticker symbol UARM. It was the first US-based initial public offering in 5 years to double on its first day of trading. The company raised $157 million in the IPO. In 2006 came the equally iconic television campaign, Click Clack. Under Armour introduced its first line of football cleats. The company captured a 23% market share in its first year and became the official footwear supplier of the NFL. In 2007, Under Armour's first brand house retail store opened in Annapolis, Maryland. In 2010, the company signed a personal endorsement deal with New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady. This was after his Nike agreement ended. He instantly became the highest profile team sport athlete to stand behind Under Armour. He was already a 3-time Super Bowl champion at the time. The deal also included an undisclosed financial stake in the company. In 2010, the company nearly quadrupled its revenue in a 5-year period. Under Armour surpassed $1 billion in annual revenue just 15 years after the company's founding. Kevin Plank marked the occasion by signing the shipping box that marked the milestone purchase. In 2011, Under Armour partnered with Carolina Panthers quarterback Cam Newton. This partnership was further proof that Under Armour could supply some of the biggest stars on professional teams. Also, as of 2011, players were able to wear its football gloves on the NFL field. In 2014, the company signed Gisele Bündchen, a Brazilian supermodel, and at the time Tom Brady's wife. By 2012, Bündchen had the top spot on Forbes' top earning models list. In 2014, she was listed as the 89th most powerful woman in the world by Forbes. Also in 2014, Under Armour became the second best-selling sportswear brand in the US. It surpassed Adidas, but still trailed Nike by a wide margin. By 2015, through the acquisitions of fitness app companies MapMyRun, Endomondo, and MyFitnessPal, Under Armour built the world's largest digital fitness and wellness community. The MapMyFitness deal in 2013 was worth $150 million. The Endomondo deal was for $85 million, and MyFitnessPal was for $475 million. In 2016, Under Armour introduced the UA Speedform Gemini 2 record equipped. This was the first smart shoe with a built-in sensor to store and track data. The same year, it was announced that Under Armour would become the official supplier of uniforms for Major League Baseball. In 2017, the company's stock fell by more than 40%, and the company recorded its first quarterly loss ever. At least 5 top executives left the company that year, including footwear chief Peter Rupp. The company continued to struggle with a slowing US apparel market and changing consumer trends. CEO Kevin Plank decided to initiate a restructuring strategy that led to the termination of about 2% of the company's global workforce. After recording several quarters of strong growth, thanks to the success of its Curry line of shoes, Under Armour saw the segment suffer a significant decline in sales as the newer Curry 3 failed to impress consumers. In 2018, some athletes at UCLA refused to wear Under Armour shoes. They complained that the bottoms were peeling off. Under Armour was the school's official shoe and apparel sponsor after a $280 million deal in 2016. Also in 2018, a survey was taken that showed that teens were abandoning the brand in huge numbers. The survey revealed that Under Armour was the #1 most cited old brand teens were no longer wearing. It also came to light that Under Armour executives and employees were expensing trips to gentlemen's clubs, along with other employees and athletes. This practice was put to an end in 2018, but it certainly didn't help the organization's image. Neither did the fact that the company was sitting with $1.3 billion in unsold inventory. In September of 2018, Under Armour announced another round of layoffs. The company cut 400 jobs, or approximately 3% of their workforce. As part of the reduction in force, Under Armour provided $10 million in severance payments. In December 2018, the company announced that it would increase its offerings for women and focus more on the wants of the consumer. In January 2019, Under Armour backed out of its agreement with Major League Baseball to supply their uniforms. This move saved the company a reported $50 million. Under Armour missed expectations for sales in the second quarter of 2019. Shares of their stock dropped 15% after this announcement. On October 22, 2019, the company announced that Plank would be stepping down from his role as CEO. Plank stayed on to become executive chairman and brand chief of Under Armour. Patrick Frisk became the new CEO. The stock at the time was around $20 per share. In 2015, it was $52. Shortly after, Under Armour said that the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission and the U.S. Department of Justice had been investigating its accounting practices since 2017. Then former executives told the Wall Street Journal that the company often redirected goods that were intended for factory stores to off-price chains like TJ Maxx near the end of each quarter to hit sales numbers. Under Armour told Business Insider at the time, "We firmly believe that our disclosures and our accounting practices have been entirely appropriate." Under Armour ended its partnership with UCLA in June 2020. They were only 4 years into the $280 million deal, which was meant to last 15 years. Under Armour stated that they were not receiving marketing benefits for an extended time period that the company had paid for. In late 2020, Under Armour laid off 600 people. Patrick Frisk stepped down as CEO in June 2022. His departure surprised investors and sent its shares lower on the day it was announced. Analysts speculated at the time that Frisk hadn't set goals ambitious enough for Plank, who was still involved with the company as executive chair and brand chief. Stephanie Linnartz became CEO in 2023. She was previously the president of Marriott International. At the time, she already had 2 decades of experience in the retail and consumer goods industry. She had previously served as executive vice president and global chief commercial officer at Marriott International and as executive vice president and chief strategy and revenue officer of Intercontinental Hotels Group. As CEO, Linnartz assembled her own executive team and set up a 3-year turnaround plan. She also focused on sports style. Then came the Slip Speed, which was released in 2023. It retailed at $150 and featured a collapsible heel. It could be worn as a slip-on shoe or a performance sneaker. But even after a year as CEO, Under Armour's sales continued to fall. In April 2024, Under Armour announced that Kevin Plank would be coming back as CEO. On his return statement, Plank said that success is not a given, and the market has never been as competitive as it is today. But we are ready for the fight and challenge. If Kevin Plank is to turn Under Armour around, analysts say that it will take a firmer brand identity, stronger product, and patience. Analyst Sam Poe said, historically, something that takes, let's say, 18 months, he's trying to do in 7. Plank's plan for Under Armour's turnaround includes cutting SKUs by 25% and shortening the go-to-market timeframe. Under Armour's top priority will be to bring clarity and stability to the business through focusing on brand-building fundamentals like making great products and telling the best story about those products. Under Armour will be doubling down on innovation and developing premium performance wear.